What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a look at Last Train Home, an upcoming title with a blend of TRPG and real-time elements that sees us leading a group of soldiers out of Siberia in the wake of World War I. For those who might be completely unaware, this game is inspired by some real-life events. Though the game itself is mentioned to be a work of fiction, they're not trying to depict these events with any accuracy, with the game focusing on both resource gathering, base management via your train, and the occasional tactical battle, which all have to be navigated so you can get this train to your ultimate destination to bring this legion back to safety. That said, I'm taking a look at this game via a demo that has been available for a while. I know it was pretty popular during the Steam Next Fest, which happened just a few weeks ago, and it just so happens that this game is releasing in full towards the end of November. And while I doubt I'll have a chance to review it at that time, people have been asking me about it, so I wanted to take a look and kind of just give some general thoughts about it. So first up, as you fire this thing up, they do present you with a variety of difficulty options that encompass a few different aspects of the game, such as the resource gathering, how much you have to take care of the train itself, and how difficult the actual combat is, all of which can be adjusted via various sliders, so you can customize the experience to be what you want it to be and focus on the parts of this game that you enjoy, which is something I always like seeing, so I wanted to call it out. I think modular difficulty is really the way to go, but once you actually dive into the game, you'll find yourself in control of squads of soldiers, at least for the real-time portion of the missions. In this top-down view, we're going to control our squad, give them orders in real time, and while you can pause for a tactical view of the battlefield and adjust your approach, the action does play out in real time. I believe the squads go up to a total of 8, with each individual member of your team potentially being quite important, as they will all have their own role, both in combat and on the train. In combat, we have things, of course, like machine gunner, sniper, medic, and these units all have various abilities that allow them to, of course, fulfill that role, such as the machine gunner being able to set up a position to rain machine gun fire down, and medics, provided they have the supplies, being able to heal various party members if you take injuries before the end of the battle. While you're on these missions, you'll also want to be looking out for resources, as part of taking care of the train and your soldiers is feeding them and having the required materials to fix said train. Now, the combat portion of these missions is pretty much what you would expect. There is a cover system in place, with each individual unit being capable of different things. Grenadiers, for instance, are great for pushing people out of cover. Scouts can actually reveal parts of the map for you so you don't go walking into ambushes. There's even a stealth option to allow you to silently take down enemies, which in the demo seems a little overpowered, by the way. And while I wouldn't really say that part's anything groundbreaking, it is satisfying enough to set up and appropriately perform sort of tactical battles. And for a game like this, I think my own personal enjoyment would come down to how complicated these battles get, on top of just how destructive the environment is, as we do take the opportunity to blow a few things up. And I'm also curious how viable a sort of stealth playthrough would be, given that you can silently take down enemies. So there's some options there to play around with. It all feels pretty good. But what about the train portion of things? Outside of these isometric missions, we'll be managing our train. Our train, as you might imagine, is made up of various cars. The engine, of course, and then things like our infantry cars, which are essentially the housing for our soldiers, the hospital car, the kitchen, things like that. Each of those individual cars has to be manned by your soldiers, as outside of combat, they all have roles to perform on the train as well, which can be things like workers, cooks, doctors, etc. So managing the people portion of this is quite important, as you'll want to make sure soldiers are recovering in the med bay after battles, but also that you have various people working shifts on the cars to make sure things are getting handled night and day. And then there's the resource aspect of it, which sees us sending our soldiers out into the wilderness surrounding the train to go on various missions, such as scrounging up resources, which are things like cloth, metal, food, of course, alongside a few others that are going to enable you to do things like repair the train when it breaks down, heal your soldiers, craft, etc. So while the train is moving, you can send squads outside of the train to go participate in some of these activities, stop by towns, etc. And while your soldiers are doing all that, they're going to be gaining experience, which means they can rank up, which will allow them to learn new abilities and increase their attributes, which will make them better at various things, as you might expect. So overall, especially just for a demo, this gives us the picture of a, I would say, well put together tactics game. And I think what they've shown off thus far is really promising, and I have enjoyed what I've played of it. Now, when it comes to the release version of this game, one of the main questions that would be on my mind is just how linear is this game? Given that you are quite literally on rails here, it would be safe to assume that this train is headed in one direction and that's pretty much it. And I'm curious if there are alternating routes you might take and just how varied the side content is. As side content is alluded to a bit in the demo, you can participate in a little bit of it. And all of that leaves me with questions surrounding, I would say, the linearity of this game. Is there going to be any replayability and things like that? Again, not really planning on reviewing this one simply because I don't think I'll have the time with the holidays and the other games I need to review, but this does admittedly look like a really cool RPG that mostly slipped under my radar. I wasn't even really aware of this one until like a week or two ago, but I still wanted to share my thoughts on what was available with everyone, so I certainly hope you enjoyed it. Do let me know what you think about this particular title down in the comments section below, which of course means to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz, but regardless of any of that, truly, just thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.